Good morning and good afternoon to our European viewers. We have an exciting match here for you guys tonight. Bomb Squad facing Eriror 216 for one of actually the last matches of the Randomizer co-op weeks of ALTTPR League. This match is actually going to be really pretty exciting. Eriror is taking their own destiny into their own hands today. However many matches they can win against the Bomb Squad is going to determine how high they place in the seeding leading on to playoffs. So it should be a very, quite the exciting match to watch. My name is Claire Mouse. I'm joined today by Jossie. Jossie, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm really excited for this match. Two great teams. Even if the Bomb Squad's, been eliminated from playoffs, they've still been great to watch all season. And of course, Eriror 216, like Eri and Thalane are some of the best players in the game. So I'm sure they'll be great to watch as well.
Oh yeah, so we've got a double Dark Link sprites here representing Eriror 216 side, both Thalane and Eri. Should be, as you said, very talented, high execution all around. I'm definitely looking forward to this match.
And I believe Rick's bunny sprite turns into Dark Link as its bunny mode.
Oh really? All right, split starts as we certainly expect here in co-op. Try and get as much information as possible. Rick picking up that shovel early in Sanctuary. Meanwhile, Fred picking up a shield from. Rick picking up a shovel from Link's house. Fred fcoughlin is picking up a fighter shield from Sanctuary.
And our map check gave us 3 Light World crystals, which is nice to see. And I believe that was a 5/6 in Eastern too.
Rick testing his luck here already with that lucky shovel, hopefully. Unfortunately, didn't end up digging up any resources that he might be useful, but is not deterring him from starting or continuing to try. Do we see bomber friends here in Uncle's Tunnel? Man, this is not going to be fun here. The lane does a really good job of avoiding those pesky fireballs. Gets one single rupee for his trouble.
Fred tried to set up fcoughlin and it didn't quite work, and he had to circle through the fairy cave, and now he's doing it the safer way.
Yeah, early resources, especially in Randomizer, can be actually quite the boon, right? Because you definitely have money that you need for bombs, and you really kind of don't know necessarily what you're going to end up facing, right?
Yeah, I mean, this ensures bottle vendor money. Well, that shovel was a bust.
It's not stopping Rick from continuously trying to get more resources, though. Oh, poor guy! It's just like
he doesn't just lift the bushes like a normal person.
Yeah. Rick is a bunny. He likes to kind of like go digging things. Like he doesn't want to go look in the bushes. Although he just like Thalane.
He got the 2 bombs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just like Thalane ended up getting both bombs out of those 50-50 bush balls. So maybe that's just like the way to go this season.
Ooh, Quake on race game. Guess we're gonna get that.
Yeah, well, Quake is not certainly a commonly used medallion. It certainly still can stun a lot of enemies, and then once they pick up that sword, they can definitely use it as a very like defensive mechanism. Yeah, meanwhile, Fred here, the first of our forerunners looking to make his way into South Shore and the dam. So this is going to be a really nice point of divergence, more information for the Bomb Squad.
But nothing so far on South Shore, but maybe Fred can turn up something in Mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, armed with 10 bombs, normally this should be enough, especially for runners of these caliber, to clear out this cave. But of course, this is Randomizer. We're going to be quite surprised, because this cave can be both more difficult or easier, depending on how the enemies are shuffled.
Oh yeah. Boy.
Oh.
If you have a hook shot, that's really easy, but those enemies are a lot tougher without a hook shot.
Oh yeah, especially that they do 2 hearts of damage, and the fact that they kind of appear, and disappear, it ends up taking also a lot longer, right, in order to be able to kill.
And meanwhile, in Kakariko, we have found an ice rod and a cape. May or may not be useful, but you certainly don't want to turn them down this early in the game.
Oh yeah, especially going through that chicken hut. So Rick looked into that chicken hut. He saw those 3 guards. He immediately noped out. I certainly don't blame him. Eri, taking his chances more, ended up claiming was that the glove from the back of Chicken Hut?
Well, maybe Rick will freeze the guards and deal with it that way.
Yeah, you bring up a very good point, Chaucy. Rick has actually some magic tied to his name, so when he picks up that ice rod and the cape, he's going to be able to use it pretty defensively or offensively, whatever he wants to do. Eri, on the other hand, did not quite have that luxury, but he did have a red boomerang to his name.
Oh, and the rabbit prize is hearts today.
We must have picked up an early book somewhere. Presumably in Kakariko. Thalane is giving us a very early pedestal check.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Exactly what you wanted to see on the pedestal. So hopefully that won't be required.
Yeah, fetch quest ped.
Of course, this does have some other slightly more minor implications, right? So with the mushroom being on the pedestal, they're not going to be able to fake powder today. So if there's something on Magic Bat, they're going to have to find that powder the hard way.
Unless they really want to pull ped.
Yeah, unless they really want to pull ped. So Thalane ended up giving us a quick check onto Lake Holly Island. That was another medallion bombos, also really useful in terms of offense and defense. And also, of course, could be an entry into one of our Mire or Turtle Rock dungeons. Jeez, Eri, really cutting it close there.
Hey, that's our first bottle, though, so that could be interesting if Six Kid has something.
Yeah, Eri also picking up a fire shield. That is going to be some really nice defense if he ever needs to face off against any fireballs.
Yeah, like normally runners aren't too happy to get shield upgrades because of the lag, but when you don't know what enemy you're gonna encounter, well, you still don't have a good weapon and are on 4 hearts,
Exactly.
it can actually be useful.
Yeah, we always get, so when did Eastern Palace get some upgraded guards and get some Lionels?
But the other thing about doing an Eastern play now is, well, you don't know whether you can beat the boss, but you can get to the boss because, thanks to Randomizer, Eastern is not bow-locked.
Yes, absolutely correct. Those red Igors that are guarding the boss room are swapped out in Randomizer so that you don't actually require the. However, these guys are on 5 hearts at least in Brick's case, and they don't have a lamp. So normally runners of this caliber have no real issues doing dark rooms. However, because it's Randomizer, you kind of want to see what's in those rooms before you try and tackle them. Otherwise, you're just kind of hoping that you live.
Oh, and Eri doing some nice strats with those shadow guys. I did not know the good bee would defeat them.
That is the best bee that you can ask for. Speaking of another would be. Oh wow! Eri picks up another bee in a bottle, but more importantly, he picks up those boots from the back of Mini Shadow Cave.
That's a good name for it.
I'm sure that Eri has just very quickly told Thalane where those boots are. Sure, after kind of Thalane's forward into Easter Palace, I'm sure he'll kind of make a beeline. No pun intended, to his shadow cave and try to claim his own boots.
So let's see if Fred, reasons out the same thing. He's starting from Link's house, so maybe he'll go down there. And I don't know if we've mentioned this, but Rick and Thalane found their first sword in Eastern.
Dude, that's even going to be better for Thalane because once he picks up to the boots, right, he's going to be able to dash to his hard content. He's not going to have to worry about stopping for enemies and just kind of getting bodied. Like Eri is trying to do now, even though he is on blue mail, so things don't hurt quite as much. But you kind of have to see him being a bit more defensive. He can't just kind of dash through and do the normal lines. He kind of has to pause and stop to make sure that he doesn't get interrupted.
So Fred is doing a desert area play. This is interesting. I didn't actually see where the book was, so I don't know if any of our other runners picked up the book.
Yeah, so the lane does for sure, thanks to our great trackers marking that on the map. But unfortunately, I did not end up seeing where specifically he picked it up.
Because if Fred has the book and it's just not marked, then he might go into desert, which would be unfortunate since it would be a lot easier if he had the boots already.
Right, yeah. And, I'm still unfortunate on the bomb squad side, they don't still have knowledge where those boots are.
And for those of you not familiar with fcoughlin, he does like to have fun with bombs, so he'll bomb just about every NPC in the game.
Yeah, every NPC and then some too, right?
Yeah, sometimes multiple times. And wait until, if heaven forbid, that mushroom is required.
Oh, yeah.
We will see a lot of bombs on pedestal.
Oh, Eri picking up a really nice boots locked item there from Bogcrocs is going to be the magic mirror.
Now, I think with the bomb squad getting their swords out of Eastern, they will probably go to Mini Moldorm Cave soon, or at least I hope they will, because if Era 216 has boots and bomb squad doesn't, then that goes on for a while. We're gonna see a bit of a gap forming.
Oh yeah, especially in the hands or feet of Eri and Thalane, having those boots and that sword, that is quite the advantage for them. All right, yeah. Meanwhile, as we're seeing here, and that you mentioned, Drossi, Eastern is definitely not bow locked. We kind of see actually both Rick and Thalane kind of make their way towards the back. Of course, they don't have a lot of equipment, but if this is a clearable dungeon that for a boss that they can beat, this is going to be the first crystal into their pockets.
Yeah, so I guess the bosses they don't want to see are Trinex, Cold Stare, and Argus, because those are the ones who you can't beat with just a sword. Though something
Wow.
like, oh, well, you can beat blind with just a sword, and that cape's nice.
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna say, so Eri actually might have had like a much better time because he's actually equipped that the fighter shield, so he's gonna have a lot nicer defense against blind. Of course, Thalane, as you mentioned, he has the cape, he has a full magic bar. Oh no! I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna only look at other people's screens now. Oh.
Yeah, no,
But actually, yeah.
I'm definitely wondering if, Rick might be able to make good use of that cape. I'm surprised Thalane didn't.
Yeah, maybe he ended up thinking that he had maybe like more health to his name, or he wasn't gonna get sniped there. So because blind is in Eastern Palace location, and you start from the bottom, while it is normally considered to be a scripted fight when you fight blind in his own dungeon, because you're starting from the bottom, his actions are not as predictable.
And Rick just used up his magic, took a laser, and that was it.
Yeah, actually, never sure we were thinking, or postulating, which bosses do we kind of want to see versus not. I was actually initially thinking, I was like, oh, well, if it's blind, maybe it won't be so bad because it only takes 9 hits. It doesn't matter what weapon you have. But this is a very difficult fight, for our runners here who have 4 and 5 hearts respectively.
Well, but the other thing was Rick only had half a magic. So he used up the magic pretty quickly with the cape. Thalane had a full magic meter, so he might have been able to pull it off if he had gotten the cape on. You just have to remember to hold the wall while blind is between phases, because of that lovely glitch where if you're holding the wall with the cape on, you don't actually use any magic.
Yeah, that is take full advantage of your game knowledge and what is available to you in terms of glitches. Oh, hey, Eri, also, kind of doing his own quick exploration, checking the stun prize today is a heart, so that's actually going to be that could be useful for him, especially if he gets in a bind.
So Fred is gonna try his luck on blind with 4 hearts and even less magic.
Oh man, what a rough pre-blind room. Fred is pulling out one of his bees though. Oh my gosh. Oh, I was gonna say, did you see that very fortunate full magic decanter drop here on Fred Coughlin's side? He's gonna have a lot better time.
And I was actually gasping because Eriror got the same thing in the previous room, so they now have full magic bars to go in against blind, and let's see if one or both of them can use their cape to good effect here.
Yeah, and moreover, both Fred and Eri have the fire shield, so this is going to be even more defense, which I believe Rick and Thalane do not have that luxury. Oh, alright. Okay, so meanwhile, Rick is trying to make his way through the back of the the back of Hyrule Castle. Meanwhile, Thalane making his own way into the desert, finding a hammer on Desert Ledge. That's going to be a really nice find pickup for them.
Oh, okay. I would just like to point out something.
What's up, Jer?
Fred did not actually use that cape, and he only took 1 heart of damage on blind.
That is impressive on Fred's side. Probably, there's a reason that these guys are in the Invitational League, right?
Yeah. And Eriror, meanwhile, didn't take any damage. He used about half his magic meter on the cape, but still, that's, you know, a really good blind fight.
Yeah, the fact that these guys didn't die, you know, we kind of just see, you know, as an example of how costly, you know, deaths are, right? Both Rick and Thalane are going to have to go back to Eastern Palace and go all the way to the back and kill the boss in order to claim their crystal. It is Roller Castle today for Rick. I don't think I've seen anything out of the back of Escape yet. Oh, alright. Eri giving us confirmation that the book was actually indeed with our uncle today. So instead of a sword, he's trying to, you know, soothe the savage beast with some poetry, maybe?
Ancient Hylian poetry, yes.
Yeah. Hey, that is a really nice pickup for Rick here, finding our Master Sword on the Boomerang chest of Hyrule Castle. That's going to be a really nice upgrade in terms of firepower.
You know what that means, though, given that we also have the lamp.
No, trust me, why would you say this? I can't
Well, we're not even close to other Dark World access, so I am starting to think.
Yeah, so we did see a hammer on Desert Ledge, which Thalane's going to pick up immediately, or very shortly rather here. We do have a glove, but yeah, we don't have a Moon Pearl, and we're running out of locations that are kind of available to us logically.
Well, with that hammer and the mirror, plus the glove and the lamp, we do have logical access to all of Light Death Mountain now. So I think we are going to see that, and maybe the Moon Pearl will be up there, and this Aga access is just a red herring.
I certainly hope for these runners' sake that they don't have to scale Aga Tower. You know, while I am personally interested in seeing what kind of enemies await us in Aga Tower, I'm sure this is not something that these runners would want to kind of tackle.
By the way, just going to point out an interesting play here that's an example of, you know, how elite level runners save tiny bits of time every which way, and it adds up. Eri turned down that last small key he saw. Why? Because he's already done the back of Escape, so he's not going to need to unlock the door between Dark Cross and the back of Escape, so why waste a second or two picking up that extra key?
You are absolutely right. These guys know lots of little time saves, and you know, like they definitely add up over the course of the run. Oh man, yeah. So meanwhile, we can see a bit of a contrast here between Rick and Eri. So both of them are trying to get to Dark Cross. Eri has the advantage of boots, and not only does he let Eri go fast, he can actually very safely dash through all those enemies, whereas Rick kind of had to, you know, sword spin and slash his way through. Definitely a little bit of time saved there on Eri's side. Another little thing is going to add up over the course of the run.
And Fred, meanwhile, with those boots, is doing a water walk to Zora, and he's actually the only one of our runners. Oh no, Eri also has Zora money, so he could check Zora if he wanted to, but this is going to be our first view of the fish.
I think that very much encapsulates how we all feel seeing that 20 rupees getting back after we spent 500.
Oh, and we are getting our first look at the Dark World. I saw a green pendant on Thieves, a blue pendant on Skullwoods. It looked like a vanilla 5-6 in Ice, but I didn't catch where the red pendant was.
I'm even impressed you got that much from that, like, half a millisecond map check that thalane decided to do. Alright, yeah, looks like, you know, with, as you said earlier, Drosy, with that mirror, with that hammer, we are going to make our first foray into a crystal tower of Hera. We don't have the hook shot, so we can't really Hera pot in this case. But you know, with that fireball in the way, maybe it's not super feasible. You know, thalane, I'm sure, is not going to have any real issues scaling the tower the old-fashioned way.
And our wonderful trackers did pick up that Pod is the third pendant.
All right, so that means if Meyer and Turtle Rock are crystals today, we're probably going to do some. We potentially might need to do some more medallion searching. But of course, we're definitely going to need that flute to find out what medallion we need in order to access Meyer, and then we certainly need the Titan's Fist to figure out what we need for Turtle Rock. Thalane showing off his NMG practice. Really nice bomb jump there to the big chest. Just compass today, but it's certainly a good peace of mind.
And now the question is, who's going to be up here? We have a 60% chance of being able to beat the boss.
Yeah, and you definitely see Thalane. Normally, you don't have to pick up those hearts for safety, but as we've kind of said earlier, we don't know what boss here is. But today it looks like is it just it's not even it's a moth fight. He's significantly less dangerous when he's not in his current arena, and as we just saw, I didn't even finish my sentence, and Thalane just demolished that moth to pieces.
Actually, now that I think about it, it might have been an 80% chance. I don't think Argus can be in a Moldorm arena.
Okay, I might have to look that one up. You certainly might be correct there.
I know Cold Stare can be in a Moldorm arena. We've seen that this week. I just can't remember what. And I know Trinex can't. I just can't remember whether Argus can. The legendary Ack the Boker is confirming that Cold Stare is the only unkillable boss we could have encountered there. That was a nice dash into coffee break on the lane side. That's pretty incredible timing.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably done this at least one or two times in the course of his randomizer career. Yeah. Meanwhile, it does look like our runners are kind of getting bottlenecked here in Death Mountain, right? You can kind of see Eri and Thalane trying to finish off Hera, and Brick also kind of making his way up in Death Mountain as well.
But Fred is doing Desert, and I don't think anyone did the back of Desert.
You are correct, actually. Yeah, because Thalane was the only one out of Thalane and Eri in the desert area, and maybe after picking up the hammer, Thalane's like, well, as you said, Drosy, like, so much more stuff opens up to me in Death Mountain, so maybe I'll check those more density item locations first.
But you're already there. I mean, I guess you're going to have to come back for Meyer, and if you've gotten the 2 items out of Desert, there's no urgency to get the...
Yeah, even though they do have the lamp in order to access the back, as we said, maybe, in the back of Desert, there's just sitting another boss that they can't really currently kill, right? Because they don't have the fire rod, they don't have a hook shot. So maybe, they just want to play a little bit safer and go back when they have more equipment. Oh no, Rick needs to be a little bit careful here in this cave. He does have the Master Sword. He has a bit more firepower, but he is on half a heart.
Meanwhile, we did see the red mail in Paradox Cave, so nice safety when you're still only on 5 or 6 hearts.
Did we just see our third sword here also in the upper Paradox Cave? That's going to be really nice for Eri. And our Pearl. Alright, so Aga, at least the tower, I think, is no longer an issue today.
Yeah, just as we're running out of locations, too.
Alright, meanwhile, Rick has successfully made his way back to be able to claim his boots. He's going to be able to dash to his heart's content. He still needs to be a bit careful on half a heart, though. Although he is going to do his water walk, so whether he's on half a heart or, you know, full heart, I guess he's still in Oko mode.
So this is our first look at Hobo. A lot of money, which might help us in the Dark World, in fact. You know, if we want to dip pod, we'll have to pay Kiki, and then there's, you know, Shovel Game and Chest Game.
Yeah, and of course, because this is co-op, Rossi, you know, because Fred has already been over to the Zora area and gotten, didn't even bother to pick up that 20 rupees for his 500 trade, Rick knows that he doesn't also need to go pay off Zora. So yeah, that money is just pure spending discretion, right? It could be for pod, could be for other potions that he needs, because right now you're still on 5 hearts, even though you do a blue mail, you're not going to turn down safeties.
Oh, and speaking of safeties, looks like Rick is using all that money to buy potions. I don't blame him.
Oh yeah, completely reasonable. You don't know what you're going to encounter. Speaking of, we also have another defeatable boss here that Fred has discovered in the back of Desert, which is our Helmasaur. The Master Sword certainly makes this fight a bit easier.
I mean, Tempered Sword makes it easier still.
That is absolutely true. If only they had Tempered or Gold Sword for that fight.
Well, I have to imagine Fred will be going up Death Mountain as his next play.
Yeah, speaking of Death Mountain, Rick picking up the mirror, he's like, why didn't I have this like 2 minutes ago?
Oh, right, so they can't actually do Death Mountain yet because Fred first needs, but, you know, the mirror is going to be right there on the way to the Death Mountain entrance for Fred.
Oh, absolutely, you're right about that. You know, because Rick picked that up, and he's like, oh yeah, hey Fred, you're gonna go up there? Here, go get the mirror first and so you can make more checks. As soon as Fred picks up that mirror that I'm sure wasn't a lapse or anything in memory, he's going to be able to access a lot more in Paradox Cave. Alright, meanwhile, Thalane has made his way over to Catfish. Just a heart container, but of course, at this point, when they only have 5 hearts earlier, they're not going to turn down that extra hearts.
So we were talking a bit about the playoff implications of this match at the beginning, and it's interesting to note this is the only division in the Invitational League where all 3 playoff spots have already been clinched. Eriror 216 will be joined in the playoffs by Pug Trio and the 2019 Titansmiths of 2019, but the seeding hasn't been determined yet, and however many games Eriror 216 wins in this matchup, that's their seeding. So if they go 0-2, their 3rd seed, if they split, their 2nd seed, and if they go 2-0, their 1st seed. And 1st seed's really valuable because you get a bye next week.
Yeah, you're trying to play more randos so you can take a break. A very, very important one, certainly. You know, because you want to definitely be well rested for the semis and the finals. Alright, yeah, so on at least Eri and Thalane's side, they're splitting up their responsibilities again. Eri is making his way in through, I believe this is Pendant Thieves Town. This is Green Pendant Thieves Town. Meanwhile, Thalane with at least the hammer is going to make a first foray into pod. No, so as you were mentioning earlier about Eastern, Eastern is not bow locked, at least on the left side. So Thalane's going to be able to access some more items. However, you still definitely need a bow in order to access the basement and the boss, because you're not going to be able to get an arrow into that green statue otherwise.
And meanwhile, with Eriror over in Thieves Town, you may have noticed by force of habit, he tossed a bomb onto the ceiling, though he didn't actually blow it up. And it doesn't matter because in Randomizer, the boss is already in the boss chamber because the boss probably isn't blind, and you'll see confirmation as he goes to the jail here and does not find Blind Dad.
Yeah, this maiden is nowhere to be found.
And he's also realized that the small key is locked in the big chest, so no need to go over there.
Alright, what do we have here in Blind Spot today? Looks like Landmo. Oh, what a nice treat actually for us. So Ice Rod's timing is definitely more different, of course, than what we normally can see, you know, for the traditional fire rod. But Eri does a really nice job. Fortunately, that last Lambo kind of did a short hop, so wasn't quite able to get all both hits on him. But Eri finishes on relatively quickly, claims his green pendant. So he's gonna be able to turn this in when he goes over to when he goes over to the pod eastern area.
But if there's nothing on it, that Thieves Dive was a complete bust.
Yeah, because I think we didn't end up pulling out any progression out of Thieves Town. Is that right?
I mean, I don't see anything on his tracker that isn't on the other runners' trackers.
Eri gets a little bit more experience for his trouble then. So hopefully the green pendant for their sake is going to be worth it. Oh, the lag on the back of Skull.
Oh, I'm trying to remember where I saw some truly awful lag in a race last night, and we had to like watch all the runners go through the same lag.
Yeah, there's another kind of unexpected quirk of Randomizer. Sometimes you just don't really know what you're going to end up shuffling. And, you know, the game is still pretty robust in that it doesn't crash or anything. But yeah, you're definitely going to explain some slowdown here in terms of performance.
Oh, and thank you to Sirius Cord for the raid, and welcome to the 8 raiders from their site.
So Rick and Fred kind of showing us some of the same stuff that Eri and Thalane has already shown, but certainly to these guys, this is going to be new information for them. As we see Fred taking on his moth fight here in the Tower of Hera.
So Fred will actually be the first of our runners to 3 crystals. Unfortunately for him, Rick doesn't have any.
Yeah, this is quite lopsided. Fred has made amazing progress, right? He has just been taking down Crystal Dungeon after Crystal Dungeon here in the Light World. You know, compared to, it looks like, taking inventory on Eri and Thalane's side, Eri has just claimed his second crystal, along with that green pendant, and meanwhile Thalane has 1 crystal tied to his name, soon to be 2. You know, coming back here with, looks like, what, 8 hearts, red mail, tempered sword, more magic in that cave. Thalane should be, it should have a much easier blind fight than earlier.
And Rick is going to Hype Cave. Did we see this from either of the Error 216 runners? I don't think so.
Oh man, if they did, I definitely missed it. Which is somewhat unexpected, maybe. I definitely expected at least one of them to do Hype Cave at this point, but hey. No, we definitely have not seen Hype Cave picking up the powder.
And you were worried about fake powdering and the inability to do it with Mushroom on Ped.
Oh, sorry. I am also... Yeah, sorry, I'm also being corrected here in chat. According to also what a great job our tracker's doing is totally on me, of course, for not noticing. We see that the lane also has Temper Sword and the powder, so at least on their side, someone has already checked it. But the lane has not gotten his fourth sword out of Hyrule Castle, and given that he's already on Temper Sword, and the only thing of value in Hyrule Castle was that sword, I really can't see him going back and getting that sword. Because he's more than capable of finishing the game on Temper, especially even for Ganon.
Well, it looks like Rick's gonna take a pod dive here. And Eri, meanwhile, is gonna turn in that green pendant in the same area.
Alright, how worth it is Pendant Thieves Town today? Eri's wallet is at least a little heavier, I guess.
He got valuable life experience.
Yes, just like Zora. We learned that NPCs are not always their business model is actually pretty good, right? At least for them, not for us. So, 35 minutes in, I'm really happy that these runners have the boots. That means they can move pretty quickly, but we're still actually missing a good amount of items for progression, right? So we're missing those Titan Smiths. We're missing a bow. We're missing a fire rod.
We may not actually need a bow.
To complete the game.
Weird as that feels.
Yeah, that's true. So I believe, logically speaking, Ganis Tower is still bow locked, quote unquote, because it Randomizer shuffles the enemies on top of existing logic. So the game still kind of thinks that there are those randomics that you need the bow for. But however, pragmatically, because those enemies are shuffled, yeah, you're right. There is nothing stopping us from climbing GT without it.
Well, I mean, given that the setting is 100% inventory, it's always going to be possible to get silver arrows before Ganon.
Yeah, speaking of that bow, Eri just picked up his bow from Bombo's tablet. Very nice pickup there.
That's quite an out-of-the-way place to find it, especially when you don't have mitts and can't do Smith Chain. And Thalane gonna be the first of our runners to check out Magic Bat.
that's a pretty important pickup, Drosy.
Yeah. And here I was gonna say, even if Magic Bat's a bust, Powder is really good in Randomizer because you never know when an anti-fairy is gonna get in your way. But yeah, Powder absolutely required today.
Oh yeah, so Powder leading to that Kena Samara. Not only both crystals, Turtle Rock, and Maya require Kena Samaria, so doubly important in this case. Delayed. Unfortunately, realizing, as very many runners do, at this point, you kind of expect to have Titan Smiths, but yeah, because you don't, you really can't lift up that rock for Darkhold access.
And I guess Eri's also going to give us our first look at Cave 45 and Stumpy.
Jeez, Eri is finding all sorts of progression here today, picking up the fire rod. I guess our progression items are coming fast and furious.
So the answer is clearly do the Smith Chain without the Smith, because all of the things you would expect to check on Smith Chain that don't actually involve the Smith or the Purple Chest have really paid off. Magic Bat, Cave 45, Bombo's Tablet.
Yeah, it looks like then Eri is, if he's headed over to the pod area, because he's already defeated Eastern as a crystal, perhaps this is going to be his dip into pod to full clear the dungeon. Or at least go to the back and see what the boss holds. And of course, because this is co-op, thalane has already told Eri exactly where all the relevant keys are, probably the big key as well as a small key to whatever he needs to get in the back, and whatever important items. I don't think there was any in pod, correct me if I'm wrong, but in this case, if Eri just goes straight to the back, it'll be a pretty quick dip for him. Oh, that's pretty important find on Rick's side. Okay, yeah, this is going to be very important comeback here for Eri and Eri 216 picking up the Titans Miss in the big chest of pod here.
And hey, we knew that, you know, the pendant dungeons couldn't all be junk.
Oh, yeah.
So if we get one useful item out of a pendant dungeon today, that's a pretty important useful item.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is something that could be really good, you know, on Eri and Thalane's side to come for Eri to come back here. So what are we actually still potentially missing? You know, they ended up finding like 5 progression items in the span of, you know, like 2 minutes or something like that. But we still need, it looks like, a hook shot and a flute at least. What's up, Justin?
And the flippers gotta get into swamp somehow.
Oh yeah, and the flippers. Dude, how? We must have been missing like 10 items or something.
So yeah, and then, you know, the bomb squad still needs to find the fire rod and the cane and what did we even get off of Bombos?
Oh.
Oh yeah, the bow. Which again is not hard required, but certainly good quality of life, and maybe we'll find both and get silvers for Ganon.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna find out pretty shortly here if something is on the boss of pod. You know, in which case the bow is going to be hard required, or if that mushroom is going to in fact lead to something. That bow is also going to be required to get to in order to get one of our next pendants.
And Rick going into blind now with, you know, red mail and 9 hearts shouldn't have too much trouble.
Yeah, and a full magic bar along with that cape. Oh, those pesky sword beams, man! completely negating the damage of the gold sword.
I was thinking, though, with all these Lionels showing up in random places, it's really nice to have a strong sword that you can, you know, actually damage Lionels with.
Oh yeah, and in fact, actually, when Rick was scaling the Bullock side of pod, there were like 5 red guards or something. The fact that he did have a gold sword, you know, basically meant that he could one-shot them. So good thing Eri picked up that fire rod, because we see a surprise Trinex here where her Helmasaur would normally be.
Though, unless Trinex has something on it, or unless that mushroom is locking one of our remaining progression items, I mean, you know, we discussed that we still need the flute and the flippers and the hook shot, and there is no reason why the mushroom couldn't be locking one of those 3 items.
You are absolutely correct. Yeah, so Helma Trinex himself did not have anything useful unless, you know, it had the same value of that green pendant that we found on blind. So certainly that prize is not going to be worth anything. That pendant still might, as you said, Rossi. And good thing that Eri is going to go back. He's going to claim whatever is in the back of pod, including those Titan's mitts.
And of course, if the mushroom is locking one of those progression items, then the bow is hard required. Rick's running out of here, so I wonder if he's gonna like check Pyramid and then Catfish.
Yeah, this is certainly very reasonable.
I don't think we've seen Catfish yet.
Thalane, I believe, checked Catfish earlier on. It was a heart container.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the time, Thalane had like 5 hearts or something, so he was pretty happy to get that. You know, Rick, the fact he has 9 hearts in red mail, may not necessarily be as thrilled to see that, but he's certainly not going to turn it down, right?
And Fred, meanwhile, is discovering this little fire rod.
Rod is a really nice offensive item, especially if you can find that half magic. You can just pretty much spam that puppy, especially in like GT Gauntlet, and makes your life a little bit easier.
But Fred has not yet been to Hype Cave to get his powders, so he can't yet get that Cane of Samaria.
It actually has either Rick or Fred checked Magic Bat, because they have the powder, right?
Well, Fred's about to go to Hype Cave and get his powder. Rick's had it, but he hasn't checked Magic Bat yet.
Okay, alright. Okay, so they don't quite know that the Cane of Samaria is on Magic Bat, but yes, both of them in this case are going to be able to have that. They're going to have the necessary equipment to get it.
And we have to hope that Fred will also, check Bombos while he's down this way.
All right.
And there's a cold and moth chamber.
Yeah, Thalane.
Bit boxed in here.
Yeah, no. So Thalane, whether or not he planned this or not, had at least a foresight to come in with a full magic bar. He does not have Bombos medallion, so he needed a full and no bottles. So he definitely needed all of his magic in order to break that shell.
But I would think, given the Ped situation, it would have made more sense for Eri to have been the one to beat Cold Stare, because he could then immediately go and check pull Ped, and see about the mushroom.
Yeah, that is certainly a very reasonable point, because we can maybe ask them that, during the interview.
Okay, so Fred, meanwhile, did pick up that bow. So, except for the Cane of Samaria, Bomb Squad has... Bomb Squad hasn't checked Ped yet, which Rick is about to do. Then they will have as much knowledge of items as Error 216 does, except for that Cane of Samaria, because they haven't done Magic Bat yet.
Oh no, Eri tried to hop into Magic Bat, but sometimes this happens in that you kind of overshoot and you don't quite end up landing into the well. Eri, heads up, being very resourceful, realizing that if you hold a bomb, you can actually skip that out of the mirror portal, so he definitely had a chance to try again, saving himself a couple mirror transitions. Yeah, meanwhile, Thalane here is also back in pod. He's going to pick up his Titan's Fist for sure.
I'm just thinking, I'm wondering who's going to show us Dark Death Mountain first, because between the cane and the mitts, we can go in and do Turtle Rock.
Oh yeah, no, that's also a really good point. Maybe that is exactly where Eri is headed. Man, Rick is getting bullied here by those thieves, just robbing him all of his resources and money.
Well, fortunately, we are using the Killable Thieves setting.
Yeah. Unkillable Thieves is no fun. Speaking of Dark Death Mountain, this looks like exactly where Eri is headed. So no hook shot means that this is kind of going to be his only avenue over there. He's going to mirror and then hammer over and then give us a check for certainly which medallions we need for Turtle Rock entry, as well as Super Bunny Cave and the first chest of Hookshot Cave.
Did he already check Ether Medallion, I guess, when he was up here before? I
think it's either him or Thalane did, and it was just Cow's Cash. So certainly nothing of value, yeah. Now, I am aware that Eri is able to use some enhanced boost strats in order to potentially get a couple more checks out of Hookshot Cave, but let's see if he'll do that today.
Are you referring to hovering by any chance?
Maybe. I might have seen Eri do that one way or another.
I mean, given his NMG time, he has what, the third best NMG time on record, third, fourth, something like that. There's no way you get a time like that without hovering.
Eri probably is, has played this game once or twice. All right, he is going in. So with the Canis Maria, with the Fire Rod, and with actually he has, but the only thing he's kind of missing is the hook shot. He has a pretty good chance of actually full clearing this dungeon. Because really, like, the only boss that he would run into issues at this point looks like it would be Argus.
And he does remember to take the long way around here because he has no hook shot.
Yeah, meanwhile, thalane taking also his Titansmiths, also splitting up some more responsibility, taking a first step into Ice Palace. I think that's the first of our 4 runners to do so as well. With that Canis Maria, he's going to be able to do Icebreaker. What a pesky room.
Oh, and there's where it makes a difference that thalane is the only one of our runners without the Butter Sword, because he got zapped in that room.
Yeah.
The other runners would.
fcoughlin doing really nice hammer yum in order to get his Titansmiths pretty quickly. So it looks like he is also going to go back in. My guess is that following a very similar strategy to Ari and thalane, he's also going to go back and defeat Helmasaur. You know, with, as you said, Rossi, you know, like, Fred is...
You mean Trinex Helmasaur?
Yes, Trinex Helmasaur, yes, thank you. Yeah, and, you know, as you mentioned before, Rossi, you know, Fred is the one out of Fred and Rick's side for the bomb squad to have also the green pendant. So, you know, picking up the next pendant certainly makes a lot of sense for him.
Yeah, I mean, especially when we're still 3 items for go mode, I really want one of these runners to pull Ped and turn in that mushroom. Because, yeah, they still have a number of checks left, though, of course, Ice Palace is out of logic without the flippers. But, you know, after Eri does this Dark Death Mountain stuff, we are running out of in-logic checks.
thalane has found, like, nothing but keys and dungeon items so far. Holy cow, this room. Thank you, Boost, for being able to let us dash through this.
I just realized we have a nice cycle here of bunny modes that we can see from Rick and Eriror, because we know that regular Link turns into Bunny as his bunny sprite. From Rick, we know that Bunny turns into Dark Link as his bunny sprite, and from Eri, we know that Dark Link turns into regular Link as his bunny sprite.
Yeah, that's very cute. I do like this strategy here on Fred's side, taking care of what is normally the turtle room here in Pod. There were lots of pesky enemies in his way. He just ethered them all away. Nice, a very fast and efficient clear. No, this room on the other hand. Ugh. Alright, yeah, so as looks like we actually have some observation here in chat. Eri did end up picking up the flippers in Turtle Rock, so this does logically put Ice Palace this puts Ice Palace in logic. This also opens up Swamp Palace completely for Eri.
Not completely, he still doesn't have the hook.
He still does not have the hook shot. Absolutely right. So he can always do a hookless swamp dive. Never mind. Jossie, I should have just waited for my comments 10 seconds later. This fully opens up Swamp Palace for Eri.
And good thing Rick is up on Dark Death Mountain too, because Bomb Squad's about to find out just what a treasure trove Turtle Rock is today.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe the flute sitting on Laser Bridge wouldn't be the first time, and then we have Go Mode and Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that is actually, yeah, so we were, what, 3 items? Yeah, we needed the flute, we needed flippers, and we needed the hook shot. We suddenly just found 2 of our 3 progression items already. Eri, holy cow, please be careful with that roller.
Yeah, this is when you definitely go to this little restocking platform.
Alright, makes his way safely across, relatively speaking. Encounters a fire bar. Really good reaction times here to make sure that he stops in time, it cancels his dash, and then makes his way safely across the bridge. And with that newly acquired hookshot, Eri is going to be able to defeat whatever boss we see in the try next spot, including vanilla Trunks, if we need to.
That fire bar on Laser Bridge is not convenient. And we do need to go there to get that key, too.
Alright, so meanwhile, Rick did give us an additional check here kind of before diving into Turtle Rock itself. That first logically accessible check with only the boots in Hookshot Cave, only 3 bombs in this case. So nothing that important.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. What's up?
I just wanted to address something in chat. We know that Bombos is on Lake Hylia Island, so if Meyer turns out to be Bombos, I'm not sure if both teams have checked it, but and Rick forgot that he doesn't have the hook shot. He's going around the wrong way, but we don't have to worry about Bombos being on Mushroom. The only thing that could be on Mushroom that we'd need is the flute.
Yeah, with a Butter Sword and Helmasaur in our Trinex spot today, Eri had 0 issues taking that boss down.
So that's our second Helmasaur, which means that that's all the Helmasaurs we'll be seeing.
Yeah, with that newly acquired
we do have
shot,
to have.
Yeah, what's up?
We do have to have every boss once somewhere. So what haven't we seen at this point? Just Vitreous and Argus.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, you are correct. I was also only going to say that, for these bosses, sometimes we don't end up seeing all of them. All right. Well, I guess we don't need of those pendant dungeons after all. Eri picking up his go mode item from Hookshot Cave. That hookshot was 100% necessary. That he picked up from Turtle Rock, and now at 55 minutes, Eri and thalane are both in go mode.
And Bomb Squad is only going to be a few minutes behind to that go mode, as Rick is only a few minutes behind Eri at this point, except with a lot fewer cleared dungeons.
Yeah, this is also a good point. We do actually see things being a little bit more lopsided on the Bomb Squad side. Fred has made really good progress, clearing out 2 pendant dungeons and 3 crystals. Meanwhile, Rick, though, actually only has, I think, looks like just an Easter Palace clear according to the trackers. Meanwhile, thalane and Eri both actually have quite a few crystal dungeons to their name.
So now the only question is, will Meyer be Bombos, and then we'll have to backtrack to Lake Hylia Island?
Yeah, it looks like Eri is taking his chances. I certainly would not have been surprised if he decided to, grab Bombos, before he kind of came over here, but he's got a 2/3 chance of this being not Bombos. It is Quake today. And also, kind of grabbing Bombos, from where he was is somewhat inconvenient because he had to go to the Dark World, and he had to go, swim all the way to the Dark World Lake and then mirror over.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with his decision to come here and hope it's not Bombos.
Speaking of more Randomizer fun, we definitely got some upgrades here in Meyer guarding that first pit in entry.
This next room is what's really awful in Meyer and Randomizer because it has a gazillion enemies and you have to beat all of them no matter what they are.
Oh yeah, speaking of, so we have our Shadow Army today. What the heck? There are like 8
wow.
in this room.
How did they all turn into shadows?
Rick, picking up his hookshot, he is certainly more than happy to see that. So he's going to, he's just going to be able to make his way all the way to the back, defeat his Helmasaur, and then go back to Hookshot Cave, get his flute, and then these guys will be in go mode as well.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see like a 5-minute difference for go modes. Some of these Turtle Rock rooms are definitely easier in Randomizer when you don't have Chain Chomps and Crystal Rollers to worry about.
Oh yeah, you know, so normally, yeah, you have a very good point, Rossi. You know, only when enemies are shuffled, you know, they tend to be shuffled, you know, to different enemies, which could be, you know, harder, right? But if you're already shuffling out the hardest enemies in the game, you can't really go, you know, much. You can't really go much harder than that. I definitely like this defensive move here on Brick's side, pulling out the cave, just in case something goes wrong. Oh no! Unfortunately, couldn't quite beat that fireball. Unfortunate. But Rick has more than enough health in order to, you know, get through the Rusted Laser Bridge.
Unfortunately, he's going to have to do all of Laser Bridge since that key's at the bottom. Might want to think about that safety door, Rick.
He was thinking. Oh man, Rick.
Yeah, I really think you want to think about safety door.
Rick.
No, Rick.
Yeah, he was thinking, but unfortunately, it looks like he does not have any more time to think. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, so kind of what happened was he got knocked out by the laser, which took some damage, and then he fell from the pit. So unfortunately, he was not able to keep health.
Oh, and there was Armos. I guess we hadn't seen them either.
Oh yeah, Eri also did a really nice job doing a quick kill on Armos with a slightly different setup. So normally, you know, what you see a lot of runners do is they try and run up to the upper right corner and then set up the quick kill that way. Because Armos was in Vitreous's arena, that slime will still do damage. So Eri took an alternative setup in order to start from the lower right corner instead.
I forget, who was in Ice Palace?
I don't think I noticed. We're going to find out very shortly here on Fred's side.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to keep count of bosses here.
Okay.
Because I think we've... Oh, Armos was in Ice as well. Okay, so we've now seen 2 Armoses and 2 Helmasaurs, and we haven't seen Vidi or Argus, so we know they must both be in GT. And Argus, as we discussed earlier, isn't allowed to be in a Moldorm chamber, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see who's in Lanmo 2 room, and if the big key is, you know, vanilla or French vanilla, we're gonna have to deal with Argus one way or another. Not too bad when you have Butter Sword anyway.
Yeah, at the rate that Eri and thalane are making headway towards Crystal, it is certainly possible that they're going to enter GT right around the same time. So maybe only one of them, you know, depending on GT placement, GT big key placement, maybe only one of them have to go through the Ice Armos location.
And also, it's worth noting that thalane was able to pass Fred in Turtle Rock. Why? Because Eri told him that there was nothing in Lava Chest, so he was able to steal the key from whatever enemy was replacing the Hoku Boku, and didn't have to touch Laser Bridge.
What a nice partner. All right, Rick. Meanwhile, taking down Helmasaur, almost a dueling fight from also the back of Desert, picking up his next crystal. So I can imagine that this is going to be a foray into Hookshot Cave for Rick.
Oh, and because Rick took that death, otherwise he'd probably have the flute by now, and Fred would not be doing the Pyramid Fairy.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a new trick. I mean, this is also very efficient, you know, on Fred and Rick's side, right? And because this is new information that they don't know about yet.
Yeah, so now Rick just found out about that go mode that unfortunately they should. Oh, well, Sankhart's in Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly another safety is gonna be nice for Fred. And you were already there, right? It's 2 free checks, like maybe Silvers were in Pyramid Fairy. Who knows, right?
Oh, I just realized we haven't seen Swamp yet. I forgot that there is one other place down here. So it isn't necessarily the case that Argus and Vitreous are both in GT. One of them could be in Swamp.
And speaking of Swamp, right? These guys, because they're in Go mode, they're just going to go basically straight to the back of Swamp. And Go mode Swamp is going to be very, very fast for these guys.
Absolutely.
It's just like we're seeing some more knowledge share for Eri and Thalane side. If Thalane has already been through Ice Palace and full cleared it, he has already told Eri that, hey, there is nothing of value, just go straight to the boss, please.
Which is why Eri is going back and hitting the switch here so he doesn't have to worry about digging up the big key.
Yeah, looks and Rick is so very close to absolutely confirming his side that they don't need anything else. Oh, it looks like Rick did pick up bombos at some point. He's gonna activate that.
Yeah,
he's gonna tell Fred. Yeah, if
Rick,
we need bombos from there.
Rick decided to play it safe, and as soon as he got off Dark Death Mountain, he went and grabbed the bombos.
Ah, okay. Thank you for checking that.
And I guess we will find out in the credits what the mushroom would give us. I'm gonna guess we'll be finding like stick and twine for sale, but that's just my pessimism about silvers.
Aw. Meanwhile, Thalane just slightly off where he needed to mirror. Unfortunately, could mirror on top of a block, so he's gonna have to try that again. Rick checking Myershed. Certainly, this is also very reasonable. 2 free checks very fast. I know if we can find silvers here, all the more power. Unfortunately, just some resources that we don't actually quite need as of yet. Yeah, speaking of easier rooms here in Turtle Rock, without that roller here in Crystal Roller, or in the map room, or in that that roller room that Fred was in, I'm not even sure what to call it now. It is significantly easier if you just kind of dash up to the end and get those 2 shots.
Yeah, I guess that is the map room.
Yeah, I think normally in the spoiler log it's called the roller room, but there's no roller in it, so.
Right, just like you can't really refer to Stalfos basement in Pod.
Yeah, meanwhile, geez, Eri and Thalane are just literally tearing through these dungeons. I mean, the fact that they can go mode these are something to be faster, but that just also shows how good these runners are. They're speeding through them even faster than normal.
But even as good as all these runners are, yeah. Oh, you were saying the same thing, I think.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That, this is Randomizer. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you have a bunch of empty bottles, you're going to get some potions as safeties.
Yeah, just like Eri was trying to dash through those bushes, we have a surprise Vimos that can definitely take off some health. Doesn't matter what shirt color you're wearing, whether it's red, green, or blue, always 1 part of damage.
Oh yeah, and I don't think we specifically remarked on this when Thalane and Eri went through, but it is a Godmire, which is nice to be able to do in Go mode.
That room, though, to claim the big key was certainly not easy, because you had a ball and shaker just trying to follow you everywhere you go. So Rick is going to make his way very shortly here into the back of Meyer, going to find his Armos Knights. Hopefully he can nail a quick kill just like his counterparts on Area 216 side. Eriror 216 side. Meanwhile, Fred is quickly making his way through Turtle Rocks because he already picked up his hook shot, so he just needs to make his way to the boss.
And while these runners are going through their go modes, good time to put in the plug to please give them all a follow. You know, they're all great runners, all, you know, prominent members of the community. Without Rick, this match wouldn't have a restream.
Yeah, and keep in mind also, this is game 1 of 2. Game 2 is going to be played, I think, tomorrow at the same time. I think Bomb Squad is switching out some team members. That Sidnak is taking over for one of them, but it's going to be a reprise of Ari and thalane.
Yeah, they're swapping out fcoughlin for Sinak, and the other 3 runners will remain the same.
We have sinking swamp palaces on Ari and Thalane's side. Thalane is just a couple rooms behind Ari. Do you think they're racing? Like amongst each other?
Well, it does remind us that this is going to be their 7th crystal, and so we're going to have a game shortly. And I wouldn't recommend guessing too high a number because I'm sure they will be dividing up Ganon's tower.
Yeah, given that the fact that these guys are pretty much just seconds apart away from each other, they're probably going to end up at GT relatively the same time. So yeah, if you can make a division of labor there in GT basement to find that big key, like Ari goes left and Thalane goes right, it's going to be even more efficient for them. Was there a Moldorm or something? in Argus'
Might have been. I think it had a lot of eyes too.
Okay, alright. I like Ari literally just stuck his sword out and like moved a couple pixels here and there and then down, and then like I saw boss explosions. Thalane, with the sword disadvantage compared to Ari, didn't have, you know, he probably needed a couple more seconds to take down Moldorm, but Ari and Thalane basically have claimed their simultaneous 7 crystals, and Ari is going to be the first of our runners to GT, most likely entry as well.
But yes, we will go by whichever one of them enters GT first.
Alright, meanwhile, Rick is doing a nice job keeping Helmasaur at bay, you know, trying to minimize the knockback that the hammer was hitting initially by sticking out his sword. Took down the mask, and 2 gold swipes, down goes Helmasaur. Meanwhile, Fred has picked up his one hook from Hookshot Cave. Didn't even bother with the rest of them because Rick has told him which of the important chest is. He's going to activate his flute, and he will now be able to clear out whatever dungeons he needs.
So the Bomb Squad is starting to rack up their crystals, but they are still a couple behind for both of them. So it's probably not going to be close in the end, but you know, should still be a good game. I mean, the Bomb Squad is not doing bad by any means. They're just up against a couple of really top-tier runners.
Oh yeah, I mean, all throughout the seed, the Bomb Squad has made you know, very nice progress, right? They've always had something to be able to do, and they've always been able to most of the time split up like the majority of work, right, among the two pretty evenly. Oh yeah, okay, so yeah. So meanwhile, Ari, being the first of our 4 runners into GT, looks like he is going potentially full right. He did find the key in Hope Room, so that this is going to let him do this.
I'd like to see full right just because we haven't really seen it that much this week, even when teams have had both of their runners in GT at the same time. And, you know, that usually horrible room, thanks to Randomizer, as we were saying, you know, the rooms with the really horrible enemies tend to get easier. So there's less disincentive to do full right than there would normally be.
Yeah, we definitely see also here division of labor on Eri and Thalane's side. Eri, luckily found that small key in order to go right. Thalane is making his way left. Most likely this is also influenced, by the fact that Eri did end up finding a small key in Hope Room, so he could make the right call. Speaking of harder, easier rooms, there's a lot more enemies to kill in that Alpho's room.
And Eri's not humoring me and going full right. So this will make it interesting to count, though, because seeing that piece of heart does still count as his 7th check.
Yeah, and he's not going to do Stalfos room, right? Because Thalane has already done it and has already told his partner, hey, there is nothing of value. Including also, also including the Fireball room as well. Now, so is Eri going to overtake Thalane in terms of checks before before they end up finding the big key? Like, is Eri gonna make it to random room first, or or Ice Armos first, I guess?
And at that point, you really wonder why he didn't just go right side to go to Ice Armos room. Well, he did grab the key, so we will count that as his 8th check. And there it is. First check in Rando room, which oddly enough will count as number 9.
Yeah.
I hope Ack guessed that.
It's almost as if Eri knew which checks to skip, thanks to his awesome partner. Even though Thalane did find the key technically first out of the two, because Eri did enter GT first, we're going to use Eri's counter. Alright, so unfortunately no silvers or half magic, not that these guys need it, it's much more of a quality of life, upgrades. They're going to both end up using their execution to climb GT. Now, of course, in Randomizer, these rooms are not what you might expect them to be in the non-Randomizer shuffle game, so they might still have to go kind of like think a bit on their feet.
And this is an example where Thalane is of one of those rooms where it's really nice to have powder and Randomizer because there were quite a few anti-fairies in there.
Yeah, you definitely saw Thalane powder one of them in order to get some health refill back. Eri didn't see quite the need to at that point.
But Eri's just going to go up with what he has. He does not use the safety room.
If it's someone that has done Gauntlet many times and faced all sorts of different enemies, it's probably Eri.
And meanwhile, Bomb Squad continues to get their final crystals. Fred is going into Meyer here, which will be his final crystal.
Yeah, we actually did see
Rick's
a little
still...
bit. What's up?
Oh, I was just remarking. Rick still got to go mode swamp and then remember to do Tower of Hera before he can get into GT. Well, he'll be forced to remember because GT won't open when he stands in front of it.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking, so there was actually a room with those Buzzy blobs, and this actually kind of showcased a difference in swords for Thalane and Eri. As you said earlier, so Eri was just able to, slash and kill them because he has gold sword. Thalane had to, take a little bit more time to hookshot them and stun them before he killed them. Meanwhile, Eri, please be careful. There is a shooter guy that's trying to kill him. That's not hard. Thank you for not dying.
Well, that's why he bought those potions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and nice little glitch in Randomizer here where, you just have to do the first phase of Argus when he shows up in Land Mode 2 room.
Harry's like, I have sword beams, I may as well use them. Unfortunately, normally we see Blizz Robes here, being defeated very satisfyingly with the King of Samaria. And Randomizer, not quite the case.
Oh, nice fire rod dash there by Thalane. Does give him plenty of time to get upstairs without having to wait for the jingle.
Yeah, it looks like because he is farther ahead, he is going to take a little bit extra time checking to see if silvers are here. Unfortunately, just a heart piece and some money. Not going to really do him too much good at this point. But it is extra information for that, you know, if silvers happen to be up here, right, Eric can just kind of pick them up without any cost.
And there's our Vitreous.
Yeah, we're actually going to see another probably difference here in swords. Eri has the butter sword, so he's probably going to be able to have a little bit faster time. Eri,
so whoever it is, whoever it is in Ice Armos, it's got to be a duplicate, right?
Yeah, I think so, because I think we've seen everything. I was gonna say, so Eri, you know, putting that red mail and butter sword to use, he doesn't really care about taking damage. You know, the fact that he also, as we saw, bought 2 blue potions, he can play pretty aggressively and not have too much worry about dying.
And Bomb Squad will now both be climbing Death Mountain as Error 216 both take care of Aga 2.
It's actually really good, you know, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, if Bomb Squad plays this out, they might be a little over 130, but that's still a good time for Randomizer co-op.
Oh yeah, yeah, especially, you know, just like for how much these runners have actually completed, right, in terms of the seed, and you know how the seed, you know, basically kind of bottleneck all the runners, you know, in early light world, right? Because you had to go find your glove, you had to go find your hammer, and then everyone basically had to go to Death Mountain at the same time to get their pearl in Dark World access. You know, there was like very little time basically in the light world, especially for being able to split things up.
Now, the downside here for Bomb Squad is because Rick still has to go into Tower of Hera and finish it before he can go into GT. They can't do the same nice division of labor for finding the big key.
Mm. Right. Simultaneous Ganon fights here for Eri and Thalane, even despite the fact that Thalane does have only the Temper Sword to Eri's Butter Sword, it's going to cause no difference of time.
Hey, and did you notice? Did you notice where those arrows were?
You know, I actually missed the text. Where were the arrows?
GT, and the only stuff we didn't see was Bob's chest, the big chest, and the vanilla big key room. So one of those 5 chests had our silvers.
Obviously, they took super inefficient routes here in their GT big key hunt. I mean, should have been like Silver Arrows hunt, right? Alright, Thalane here, being the first of our 4 runners, taking down Ganon. He needs to cross this bridge, holding up his Temper Sword, and he will be the first of our 4 runners to finish. Eri, his partner, very, very shortly following afterwards.
Oh, and Rick wasn't able to get off the Hera pot. But
Alright, get your GGs out in chat here for Error 216, both first and second place finishes. Let's see if we can get an official time.
As we get deafened,
1 hour, 21 minutes, and 42 seconds. Eri, 7 seconds behind his partner. 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 49 seconds. Good stuff.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Welcome all. GG's, guys.
Oh, thanks.
GG's.
Thoughts on the scene?
Yeah, so right side pot is not bow locked and Randomizer or something. Maybe remember that. we'll learn that for tomorrow.
For tomorrow,
We
that's good.
We need to study that.
It's good to see that there's still information that you could pick up after playing so much.
So I got the bow and was like, you know what? I'll just finish pod and hope that maybe progression is on pedestal at that point. And then I bonked like open like the way to mimics. I was like, we don't even need the bow for this. So that was a good time.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's. What's up?
I was gonna say we also had some slight communication problems because Eri kept disconnecting off of Discord. So sometimes I was like not really sure if he found something, where do I go, and stuff like that. So it was a little bit rough.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. No, like technical difficulties like always suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't too bad. It was just maybe cost us like half a minute, maybe a minute. I don't know.
But yeah, pretty happy with how it went. Other than that.
Yeah, you guys were very efficient. I mean, look how much you guys did. Like, you pretty much cleared out all of the dungeons, and this is you guys still finished with a like 1 hour 20 time. I am kind of curious. So it seemed like, you know, after the lane check pedestal, that you guys found the mushroom. So you guys were maybe angling to try and get some more pendants. Was there a reason why the lane ended up finishing Skull and getting the third pendant as opposed to you, Eri?
Let's see. So at that point, we just like divided the tasks so that if something was in Skullwoods or in pod, like the rest of pod, after I found bow and fire rod, that we don't actually need to do like the respective other pendant and pull ped if it was something like mitts or hookshot or flippers or something. So we just try to divide it up. And Thalane didn't really have that much else to do outside of Skullwoods, I think. I think there was just Sora left at that point. So to us, it made the most sense to divide it up that way.
Yeah, you guys were.
And I don't think there was any reason why we sent Eri to pod and me to Skywoods. Could have also been the other way around. It just turned out to be this way, I guess.
Yeah, mostly because like I already had the bow at that point, I think. And
it was
actually,
also
at
2
that point,
items first of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also curious. Like, were you guys racing by the time you guys hit Swamp? Like, who was gonna finish first?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yeah, we definitely also saw. We were also curious. Jossie and I were seeing if Eri, you were going to overtake the lane in GT basement because it looks like your lane was slightly ahead of you. But he was also telling you like you could skip this, you could skip that.
yeah, exactly. So it was funny. We were checking the restream after we were done, and I entered Gauntlet 7 seconds behind, and I finished 7 seconds behind. So I guess, we divided up everything very well. He checked some extra chests. I drank 2 bottles, and it all made sense.
So, speaking of division of labor, there was one thing I was curious about. Since you guys knew that Mushroom was on Ped and you weren't in Go mode yet, I was kind of expecting Eri to maybe do Skull Woods and then pull Ped since he already had Pod and Thieves, but Thalane, you wound up doing Skull Woods instead. What was your thinking for how you divided up those checks?
It really was just that I found bow and fire rod, and at that point, we knew there were 2 checks left in pod, and yeah, at that point, like it was just the density. And once we found mids in pod, like we didn't feel like it was necessary to immediately go deeper into that and try to pull ped.
I mean, Eri was still missing 2 pendants, right? I was missing all of them, so it doesn't really make sense if possibly all of T-Rock is open, and I just went into Ice Palace instead, just in case it's like not Flipper's Go mode, which I guess it wasn't, but also nothing in Ice, sadly. So I don't think it would have been worth it to send someone and like pull pad.
Okay, I was just wondering because I then saw how, because you did go all the way through Skull Woods.
Yep.
Which was a little surprising.
Well, at that point, like, we didn't know if it would be in either Skullwoods pod or pedestal. So me going into pod, him going into Skullwoods, just clearing them out and seeing if progression is there, it just seemed to make sense to us.
And when Eri found mids, I was like already like in the back and dropped into cold stare without any magic. So I was like, okay, I might as well just like get it done and see. Maybe it's like another item, like hookshot or something, and then we get lucky.
Yeah, so Rosalie, good seed, good performance for you guys. Really, definitely a good treat. Nice treat to be able to see all the boss kills and execution. Any thoughts about tomorrow? You guys ready?
If it's similar, I should feel pretty good about it, I think. Yeah, hope that no Discord disconnects or something happen, but other than that, I think our division of tasks was pretty good, and I'm feeling pretty good about tomorrow.
Same.
Yeah, like, so I think Jossie and I were talking a little bit earlier, but so it sounds like basically however many matches you guys win this week is going to determine how high you guys place in terms of seeding. So if you win tomorrow, that means you get next week off, right?
That is correct. So right now we, like, since it's like at least a split or us winning, it's gonna be like us in second place at least. If we win tomorrow, we're first. If we would have lost both of them, we would have been third. So it's a pretty cool conclusion to the top three, I guess.
Yeah, it's nice, like having your fate in your own hands.
Yeah, and you already know you're going to get home advantage, so to speak, in your first playoff round. The ability to choose more of the modes in games 3 and 5.
Yeah, I must admit that I haven't actually looked into the complete implications of being first and what options there are and stuff. So, we'll see, I guess, once we get there.
Yeah, basically, there's 6 different types of settings to pick, and one team gets to pick 2. The other team gets to pick 1, and Sahasrabot gets to pick the other 3.
Great. I'm sure Sahabot has the best out for us.
Yeah, you guys definitely ran a really, really nice game. So GG's against to both. Always a treat watching you guys.
Yeah, always fun to show off a little and chat with you guys. Guess I'm gonna get some food right now and then let you talk with the other finishers who should be done soon.
Yeah, it looks like Fred is just wrapping up the ending.
Yeah, I was just gonna say thank you guys for commentating and for the tracking, restreaming, and all the stuff. And thanks a lot to Eri for doing the co-op stuff. It's always super fun. So
yeah, for sure. These are definitely the weeks I enjoy most, like the co-op weeks and the spoiler week. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll do it again tomorrow. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you guys are a good team.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for the comps, and see you around.
All right,
Bye-bye.
see you guys.
And with that, fcoughlin crosses at 1:31:32, so just under 10 minutes behind Era 216. And looks like Rick's only a couple minutes behind him. So yeah, as I was saying, they're a little over 1:30, which, for co-op Randomizer, that's still a quite good time.
Yeah, it looks like Fred finishes with official time of 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 32 seconds. Rick is, as you said, Rossi, very shortly behind. So get your GGs out in chat for Fred.
And Rick's now taking down Agatu, so. Yeah, it's funny, given some of the really awful seeds we've seen this week. I mean, yes, there was an awful lot of stuff in Turtle Rock and Dark Death Mountain, but other than that, it really wasn't a bad seed.
Yeah, the enemy certainly could have been a lot worse. Of course, it could have been, you know, a lot nicer. But yeah, in terms of like how really bad, like in terms for your obstacles in the way, like yeah, I guess it wasn't too bad of a seed. And you know, it definitely looked like, you know, for all four runners, they played a little bit more defensively, right? You know, there definitely been seeds, you know, in the past where the runners have just basically chosen to just rush crystal dungeons and just hope the progression isn't impended. In this case, you know, both Rick and Fred and Eri and thalane just trying to at least, you know, like temper their bets and hope that, you know, it's like if something is in a pendant dungeon, like I don't want to kind of lose out.
Yeah, and I mean, I can understand the conservative play. You know, one team's already clinched playoffs and is just playing for seeding. The other team's been eliminated and is playing for the challenge of maybe being able to beat a team that's already clinched playoffs. So, yeah, I think they're all just, you know, having fun and trying to make it an interesting match.
Oh yeah, I certainly hope, you know, like League has actually been, I was like, quite the fun experience. Hopefully that's true for, you know, for Fred and Rick here. Rick, yeah, getting torch glitched with his last bit of magic, actually using that lamp. So really glad it happened. So he's just a couple of silverless spins away, doing some really nice job getting those triples.
Yeah, he's got to be at least halfway by now. There we go.
Yeah, that was a really nice phase 4 there on Rick's side. I don't think he missed a single silverless spin.
So yeah, get your GGs out for Rick, sticking it out and everything, and he will finish here with an official time of 1:34.51.
Yeah, definitely GGs to the bomb squad here with Rick and Fred finishing this race.
Oh, and I didn't notice on Eriror's side in the credits, or I guess now on Fred's side either, what was actually on that mushroom?
I want to say bombs. All right, let's see if
What
we
did
can
it
get
say, like drugs for explosions?
Yeah, maybe. You know, it'll only be fitting for the bomb squad, right? All right, let's see if we can get Rick and Fred and in here so we can chat with these guys for what their thoughts about for this scene. We are joined by Rick and Fred. GG's, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thoughts about the scene?
Well, I hate rollers.
I am sorry. There were quite a few of them, unfortunately.
I also hate fire chains that decide they're gonna lurk on single tile platforms.
Those were unfortunately also present in Turtle Rock. Yeah.
I've seen worse.
Oh, I've seen worse too. It's just I hate seeing that because, yeah, that was kind of just unfortunate to deal with in that Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and we were kind of wondering in Turtle Rock why you didn't go for the safety door, given everything that it was throwing at you.
Just one of those rough moments where I discounted it and thought that I was going to save more time by not doing it. Fred can attest to the fact that I kept saying I hit Y because I tried to use the cape to get around that fire chain, and well, it didn't want to do it the way I want it to work. So
I will confirm that phrase came out of his mouth probably in a 30-second window at least 5 times.
exactly.
Okay, controller not cooperating.
This is one of the fun parts, right? That you get to, your teammate gets to experience what you're experiencing.
Yeah. Some rough early game. Took a few unfortunate deaths.
I mean, you weren't the only one who died to blind. One of your opponents did as well.
I didn't see that.
But the decision to go to Palace of Darkness early after getting Dark World access was kind of banked on the fact that I still had to do blind, so I had a reason to head in that direction anyway. So let's do it. Oh, hi, Titans Mitts.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, certainly. As you were saying, though, Rick, your early game definitely was a bit rougher. But I mean, I think it was probably rough for many, like both for Ari and Thalane. So things definitely seemed a bit lopsided as well for a while because it seemed like Fred had more crystal clears, but yeah, probably just not enough health maybe. That kind of kept you from, I guess, clearing like crystals or pendants. But you did find a lot of progression.
Yeah, that was what kind of wound up changing things around towards the middle and the end. I was saying to Fred, my God, you seem to be further ahead than I am because I, at one point in time, I only have 2 crystals versus Fred's 5.
Yeah, as we were talking about it, though, it was like, for example, I went and I cleared Desert. Rick, at the time, did that. We knew Desert didn't do anything for us, so it was like, okay, don't bother with this now. You're gonna have to come back because you have Flute and you have to do Mire and you have Mirror already. So come back later on when you're a little bit stronger, and whatever it is up there, Helmasaur, you're gonna just mow through without a problem, and ideally with boots, because I don't think I had boots at the time. Maybe I did. No, I did have boots, but either way, it was like, okay, no matter what you do there, it's gonna be a faster clear on round 2. So we said, let's just try to get the information rolling, which was really nice because Rick may have been behind on the crystals technically, but I felt like he had like 3/4 of the most important pieces of us finding things, and it was me just chasing after him, saying, okay, let me clean up and try to get everything here.
Oh yeah, that's certainly very actually very fair and accurate assessment. Yeah, like for example, like Rick, you were the first one of your two into Turtle Rock, right? You know, finding flippers, finding the hook shot, finding the flute, right? Basically, this is just all your go mode stuff, and you made sure to also pick up bombos, before you went to Mire to basically say that you guys were full go mode, right? Yeah.
Just in case, and of course, bombos helps out when you have a very uncertain gauntlet coming up. Obviously, early game stung. Not getting to the uncle in the first trip in, which yielded the book, which probably would have changed a few things around. Not going after the guards in the chicken coop, which yielded the glove, and I kept waiting for a reason to go back to the village.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about this because early on I think we watched you go to Chicken Hut with only like 2 bombs and like no other weapon, and you saw the guards and just kind of noped out, trying to go back and find.
Yeah, seeing those guards, especially the red one, I know that I'm gonna get really assaulted pretty badly there. So I'm like, no, and plus the fact they only had 2 bombs as opposed to 3 because of the quake that turned out to be a race game. Kind of led to a few decisions of that stage, but I don't regret not doing the guards. Like I said, I don't think that kind of hurt me at that point. It's just unfortunate that it turned out to be something nice there. I think overall, dying to the things that I died to early on in the run kind of slowed me down a little bit early on. Taking that unfortunate death in Turtle Rock without the safety door present slowed me down a little bit more, because then in that case, me and Fred are probably in GT at the same time. But Eriror and thalane, they're tough opponents, and you're not going to get away with a whole lot against them. You just got to hope that they fall into the same trap. And who knew whether or not they were going to in this case?
Yeah, sometimes you can get lucky on that type of situation. As again, thalane and Eriror are again phenomenal competitors. Pretty much, if they're in a race, they've got a chance to win. Doesn't matter how many people are in the race, they've got a strong chance to win. So you expect to see them doing really well. And in this case, they just they were able to fly through the seed, and we hit a couple of random little hiccups there. It wasn't a bad thing. Just when you're against top level competition like that, it's hard to recover from mistakes like that in that case.
I'm not even sure if I would consider them, to be mistakes per se.
It's not a mistake,
right?
yeah. That was poor choice of word. Just more any like road bumps you run into. If they happen, if you just happen to as part of your routing, like in our case, we went back later to, Hyrule Castle for that book. As we were thinking about things, like if you got the book early, that's one trip down to desert as opposed to the Agana trip, followed by the full clear desert trip later. You have the hammer then right away, which would give better access there into the mini Moldorm cave, which would have gotten a sword and boots and everything else. It's like, okay, that potentially could have again, with the hindsight of looking at the seed, you could have easily routed things a lot better going for that part. But obviously there was no hindsight. There were go to certain rich information dense areas, and they were able to get things in a much better order.
Yeah, and I know that we've got something coming up in 5 minutes on this channel, so GG's to Eriror and thalane.
Yeah.
We'll try our best to get game 2 tomorrow at 11 a.m. with me and Synac. We'll see how that goes, and it's been a blast here in this season of the league, and I know Fred said the same thing.
Yeah, and I hope you guys are looking forward to your final game tomorrow. I mean, I guess Fred's sitting it out and you're bringing Synac in, but still, you get one more fun game here, and you get to come back next season and everything.
Yeah, I mean, at least certainly for this race and in general, you guys have definitely held your own, especially being able to still compete and play, after kind of taking on those early deaths, certainly is a testament to your endurance. So, really nice job by both of you.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for calling this race today. Thank you to the trackers behind the scenes working on that, and SpeedGaming for putting this on. It's been a blast, and looking forward to play more next season and cheering on Rick and Synac tomorrow.
GG's, everyone.
GG's, yeah. Thanks for putting on such a great race for us, and GG's to Eri and thalane, Drossi, and thanks for being co-commenting today, and thanks to our great trackers, Dark Linkman and Bandman. Yeah, stay tuned. There are tons of matches all around today. So until then, we'll see you in another random race.